Facebook. Is there something wrong with the Facebook streaming? It's just not working. I'll have to get it wrong and fix that.
We'll just start.
Yeah.
We're back again with the evening reading from Sri Guru and His Grace by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. Chapter 4, entitled The Original Guru. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Original Guru. The original spiritual master is Nityananda Prabhu. He is the general representation of Guru. In the spiritual world, he is the Guru Tattva principle in the four primary mellows of devotion, excluding the conjugal mellow. In Madhura Ras, Baladev's representation is Ananga Manjari, the sister of Radharani. The position of Nityananda is greater than that of Baladev. Why? He is distributing prema, divine love. And what is prema? It is higher than all other achievements. If one can give divine love, then all others must be subordinate to him. If Krishna is subordinate to Mahaprabhu, then of course Balaram is subordinate to Nityananda. They are similar, but when magnanimity is added, Balaram becomes Nityananda. That Balaram who can distribute divine love, who can perform that higher function, has come here as Nityananda. Our foundation must be solid and proper. Then the structure should be erected. Otherwise, the whole thing will go down. Hino nitai bine pai, Radha Krishna pai tinai. We can get a solid foundation from Nityananda Prabhu. One day, Nityananda Prabhu came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house in Mayapur. Mahaprabhu's mother, Sachi Devi, and Vishnupriya Devi, his wife, were also there, as well as other devotees. Suddenly, Nityananda arrived, quite naked. Mahaprabhu managed to give him some cloth, and perhaps he was concerned that the devotees might have some misconception about Nityananda Prabhu. So, to prevent this, he asked Nityananda Prabhu for his kopan, his loincloth. He tore it up and distributed it amongst the householders that were present, instructing them, keep a piece of this loincloth as a kavacha, an amulet, and tie that with a thread to your arm or wear it around your neck. Please keep it with you, then you will be able to achieve sense control very soon. Nityananda Prabhu has control of his senses to the extreme degree. He does not know anything of this world. His vairagya, indifference to the world of mundane transaction, is of such a degree that he can appear naked amongst both male and female. So the grace of Nityananda Prabhu will construct a firm foundation for us. If there is a firm foundation, then we may build a great structure over it. If we have faith in Nityananda, then that faith can bear any amount of weight. It won't betray us. So, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has laid stress amongst the Westerners on devotion to Nityananda. First, we must get his mercy, and then, afterwards, we can get the mercy of Radha Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means Radha Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. First achieve the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, and then Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and then Radha Govinda. In these three stages, we must raise ourselves up. Devotee, how does one attain the mercy of Nityananda? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, one who finds more inclination to serve Gauranga and his dham, his transcendental land, and his servants, can get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda is very much kind to one who has some special tendency towards Gaura Lila. Take the name of Gauranga. Nityananda Prabhu walked from door to door in Bengal saying, take the name of Gauranga, I'll become your servant. You can purchase me if you only take the name of Gauranga. I'll be sold to you without any price or condition. That was his temperament. When Mahaprabhu was in Puri, he sent Nityananda Prabhu to Bengal. At that time, he said, without you, I don't find anyone who can spread the holy name of Krishna or devotional service to Krishna in Bengal. They are more engaged in the tantric method and smriti. They make too much of these trifling things. They are puffed up, thinking that they have finished all knowledge. So, Bengal is a very hard field for preaching. Without you, no one will be able to awaken the masses. Separate yourself from the higher castes and approach the masses with the holy name of Krishna. You are the fittest person for this work. Nityananda Prabhu went to Bengal but without trying to preach the glories of the holy name of Krishna. Nityananda Prabhu began to preach the name of Gauranga. Nityananda Prabhu found that there is some danger of thinking that Krishna's pastimes are very much akin to the mundane debauchery, lying, and stealing of a degraded soul. Krishna's pastimes are of a highly confidential nature. It is very difficult for the masses to understand the purity of Krishna Lila. The mass mind cannot accept Krishna Lila as the highest attainment. So Nityananda Prabhu found it would be difficult to preach Krishna Lila, but he found it would be easy to preach Gaura Lila, where Krishna has come to distribute himself to the public with so much capital in his mind. Gauranga means a dynamo which wants to distribute Krishna, so charged with the most magnanimous, intensified pity and kindness for the ordinary people, with the greatest affection even for the criminals. Nityananda Prabhu wanted to bring them in connection with Gauranga, for then Krishna Lila would automatically be within their fist. So he began to preach about Gauranga, not Radha Krishna, as commanded by Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu says, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranga Ranam. Worship Gauranga, speak only of Gauranga, and chant the name of Gauranga. There is another instance of the relationship between Krishna and Balaram and Gauranga and Nityananda, which is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sachi Devi had a dream that Krishna and Balaram were sitting on a throne, and Nityananda was fighting with Balaram. Come down from the throne, it is no longer Dvapara Yuga. The age of Kali has come, and my master Gauranga must occupy your position on this throne. You come down. Balaram began giving some opposition. No, why should we come down? We have been sitting on this throne for such a long time. Nityananda Prabhu began forcibly taking him down, and Balaram submitted slightly. Nityananda Prabhu said, My master Gauranga wants to take the position now. The age for him has come. So Nityananda is very partial to Gauranga. He says, Krishna is far off. My Lord is Gauranga. So we must be very grateful to Nityananda Prabhu, for he is our Guru. And Guru's grace is so important that Raghunath Das Goswami says, O Radharani, I want your grace. Without you, I don't want Krishna separately. I never want Krishna without you. That should be the healthy attitude of a devotee. And this has been explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Gurava Astakam. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan nagati kutopi jayam stuvam stasya yasastri sandhyam vande guru shri charanarvindam. I bow down to the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. By his grace we achieve the grace of Krishna. Without his grace we are lost. Therefore we should always meditate on Sri Gurudev and pray for his mercy. This is the position of Sri Guru, by whose grace we can get everything. We can get the grace of Krishna, and without whose grace we have no other prospect. So in this way, we must have reverence for he who has given us our first connection with Krishna consciousness. Guru is not a doll, but at the same time, as we offer reverence to Gurudev, we must not conceive that the Guru is a doll, a lifeless figure. Because we are familiar with a particular figure and accept that as our Guru, we should not become misled. The important thing is what he says, his instructions. That is attracting our inner hearts. I am not this body, I am the inquirer, that thing which is satisfying me, drawing the inquirer to the inquired. I must try to locate that thing in him. I must not rely on material calculation. I am not this body. Who am I? The disciple. Am I only this body, this figure, this color, this caste? Or am I this temperament, this scholarship, this intellectualism? No, I am he who has come to seek. Who is the party within me and who is the party in Guru? We must be fully awake to that. What is the inner thing? I have come for that. We must be awake to our own interest. There is the relative principle and the absolute principle. We shall have to eliminate the form, ignore the form. We shall always have to keep the spirit. Otherwise we become form worshippers, idol worshippers. Guru, more than meets the eye. It is said, of course, that the connection with the spiritual master is eternal. Chakshudana diloje, janme janme Prabhu say. But we must not identify our Guru with the appearance we perceive with our physical senses. Our inner identification of him will be clarified according to the growth of our vision. When our vision increases and takes shape from material to transcendental, his look will also change accordingly. A man is sometimes known most externally by his uniform, and then by his body, then by his mind, then by his intelligence. As much as our eye will develop to see things rightly, what we are seeing will also change its face. Krishna says, Acharyam mam vijanayan. Ultimately, it is I who am the Acharya. It is the function of divinity, and in different stages there may be different forms, different acharyas may work at the same time. The knowledge, the ideal, is growing from subtle to gross, and the depth of the vision of the eye will disclose the different figures of the different acharyas. It will go in different rasas to the highest position by a gradual process of realization. Otherwise, our knowledge will be based on the material conception. And to force the material conception onto divinity is a crime, it is ignorance, it is erroneous. We have to free ourselves from the snare of identifying reality with the physical form presented to our senses. The eyes deceive us, they cannot give us the proper form or color. The ears cannot give us the proper sound. The concrete reality is beyond the experience of our senses. So then, what is that thing? Because we are in such a low position, we can gradually go there to the inner world only with the help of our Guru. But how can we recognize our Guru? Sometimes in the winter he wears a particular dress, and in the summer he wears another dress. If we attach so much importance to the external dress, then what should we do? Should we think that the dress is indispensable to the body? The Guru may come to us in a particular body. Suppose the Guru appears as a young man. When he has become an old man and the young form has grown into another form, how are we to recognize him? How are we to differentiate? Again, in one birth he may have come in a particular body, and in another time he may appear in a different body. The same Guru may appear differently at different times. How are we to recognize him? From the external consideration, We must go to the internal. If I am devoid of flesh and blood, and I exist only in a subtle body, then I shall also find my Guru there in a subtle body. The demigods, Gandharvas and Siddhis, the perfected beings in the heavenly planets, also have their Gurus, but they do not have a material body, nor does their Guru have a material body. So, by eliminating the external conception, we have to enter into the internal, and that will be all-important to a progressive disciple. That does not mean that one should disregard the physical form of our Guru, but the real importance is within. We must worship the remnants of the Guru, his coat, his boot, his sandal, but that does not mean that his shoe is superior to his body. We must serve his person. In a similar way, if we are eager to do some physical service for him, if we want to massage his feet, but he does not desire that and says, no, 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 then should we do that? Our internal obedience to him will be higher. In this way, we have to make progress from the gross to the subtle. Who is Guru? Where is he to be located? What is his ideal? What does he really want me to do? These things must not be dismissed from our ears. We must not give only formal adherence. We want the spiritual way. The spiritual man is going to the spiritual world to have the spiritual realization. It is all a spiritual transaction. And all conceptions of mundane, whether physical, mental, or intellectual, should be eliminated in our journey if we want to go to the inner world of substance. Progress, elimination, and acceptance. Any comments? Any comments, contributions, elaborations?
Do you have any comments or elaborations?
I could try. Guru Maharaj is talking about, the title of the chapter, the original Guru, as Nityananda Prabhu, and the imperative need to create a strong foundation in one's spiritual life, in order to make sure that any future progress on top of that is real, that it is sustainable. If it's not real, it's not going to be sustainable, and so eventually it will come tumbling down to greater or lesser degrees. Without a foundation, which is essentially characterized by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu is at the head of Mahaprabhu's preaching activities. His preaching front is led by Nityananda Prabhu. Something like a general leading the army, commanding the armed forces. So Nityananda Prabhu is at the general of Mahaprabhu's preaching force. And thus, the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu is connected to one's desire to engage in that service which Nityananda Prabhu is in charge of, which is preaching. And even those on the highest level of Krishna consciousness, Paramahamsas, such as Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, still they extend themselves. And we see it even at the end of Guru Maharaj's life, saying, Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai. And he still providing preaching work or relief work to those that approach him for spiritual guidance. So what to speak of us? We want to please Nityananda Prabhu, then there's some responsibility to share Krishna consciousness with others. And that has the ability to invoke the mercy of Lord Nityananda. We can see how all the spreading of Krishna consciousness comes under the auspices of Nityananda Prabhu. And the person that has done the most, you could say, spreading of preaching of Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, is identified by Srila Guru Maharaj as a Shaktivesh avatar of Nityananda Prabhu. In other words, someone who has drawn down and embodied concentrated energy of Nityananda Prabhu. And we can see the effect of that. And all the literatures that we use for our own, that have essentially, it's a kind of preaching that has reached us, the spreading of Mahaprabhu's conception. All of the chief literatures, we can trace their journey from their place of origin to us. We can trace Nityananda Prabhu's hand in that as well. Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, was ordered to go to Vrindavan by Nityananda Prabhu. And so that service was expedited or catalyzed by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy and instruction to Krishnadas Kaviraj, otherwise which we may conjecture that we wouldn't have Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Chaitanya Bhagavat, precursor to Chaitanya Charitamrita, also written by Vrindavan Das Thakur under the inspiration of Nityananda Prabhu. And another literature, Chaitanya Mangal. I believe Siddhanta Saraswati had 3 authorized biographies of Mahaprabhu published: Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Chaitanya Mangal. And Chaitanya Mangal by Lochan Das Thakur, also a great, inspired greatly by Nityananda Prabhu. If we look at the songs that we sing to Nityananda Prabhu, 2 of the most important ones written by Lochan Das Thakur. The hand of Nityananda Prabhu can be traced everywhere in the spreading of Mahaprabhu's movement. Both in terms of our accessibility, the inspiration behind the writing and thus distribution and thus our access in the modern world to the literatures of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangal, but also they're spreading all around the world through someone who's a Shaktivesh avatar of Nityananda Prabhu, who was inspired by Guru Maharaj who at his very last days, Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai. So Guru Tattva, that sharing of Krishna consciousness from someone who's in the capacity of a guru, is Nityananda Prabhu's domain, and he is in total charge of that. And so to engage in that, to try and insert ourselves into that in a humble capacity, to try and serve that in whatever little role we can, that is a method for inviting the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. And we can see even the leela of our revered Guru Varga, when Guru Maharaj was going to yes, on his way to start the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, he went to Ekachakra and prayed for the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. And he received the inspired revelation that he has so much spiritual wealth. Nityananda Prabhu is communicating to Guru Maharaj that, see, you have so much spiritual wealth. In fact, you are the guardian of devotion. So essentially, you are guarding the storehouse, the treasure house of this Rupanuga Sampradaya. And so it is very necessary that it's shared for other people's sake. It's necessary to share it so that inspiration from Nityananda Prabhu appeared in Guru Maharaj's heart. And of course, that's what happened. Many Westerners, amongst others, came to Guru Maharaj for spiritual instruction. And this book came about. Progress, elimination, and acceptance. This attitude will decide our real progress, our real design of life. Our fulfillment comes always from the inner side. If one can catch up that thread, then he can go and get things of that higher spiritual quality. We may appreciate the beautiful figure, style, movement, and intellectual delivery of the spiritual master, and so many other things may be appreciable. But what should be the highest focal point of our realization? What should be our highest aim for which we will eliminate everything else? Progress means elimination and acceptance, and our spiritual life must always be a dynamic thing, otherwise we shall be dead. Progress means acceptance and elimination. The scientists also say this in their theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest. Nature is selecting some and eliminating others. Life is dynamic. We are living in a dynamic world. Everywhere we find acceptance and elimination. That is progress. And our life must be progressive, not static. To get the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, we should try as far as possible to study the character of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. To serve him, to serve his Dham and his devotees. That will easily help us to attain the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. And there will always be so many practical dealings in our present stage. But we must always keep the highest ideal over our heads. With this ideal, we shall be able to make progress. Our ideal, our highest model, that is our all in all in life. To be acquainted with the conception of the highest ideal and to be on the path of realization of that goal is the greatest wealth in one's life. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami prays, I only aspire after one thing. I cherish the hope that one day I may be welcomed into the plain where Radhika and Madhava are in their glory, sitting and playing. That should be our prospect. This is found in Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer to his Guru. He says, Namashreshtam manum api sachiputram atra svarupam rupam tasya grajam urupurim maturim goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Natosmi. I am fully indebted to Sri Gurudev. Why? He has given me so many things. He has given me the highest conception of the holy name of Krishna, the highest form of sound which contains the highest form of thought, aspiration, ideal, everything. And next he has given me the mantra. The name is there within the mantra. Without the name, the mantra is nothing. If the name of Krishna is withdrawn and replaced with another name, the mantra will give the opposite result. The name of Krishna is all in all, and within the mantra, the name is couched in a particular way. It's a sort of prayer. Reminds us of the verse by Guru Maharaj, isn't it? Namashreshtam Manu Api Sachiputram. There's the one by Guru Maharaj in the Mangala Charam of Sharanagati to Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Oh, you mean Guru Dham?
Yeah, Guru Dham, Grantha Dham, Guru Dham.
Right, it's like a list of everything we've received. Good.
And then Raghunath Das Goswami says, He has given me the service of that great Saviour, the son of Mother Shachi, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is like a golden mountain standing to show the direction of Krishna Lila. And Gurudev has brought me to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu's most favourite personal assistant, Swarup Damodar, who is a representative of Lalita Devi, the most favourite friend of Radhika. Then he has brought me in connection with Sri Rupa, who was ordered to distribute the highest kinds of devotional love, rasa. Vaidhi Bhakti, the worship of the Lord in awe and reverence, is of a lower order. But Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love, the heart's innermost dealings, was distributed through Srila Rupa Goswami. Mahaprabhu considered Sri Rupa the best to deal with Raganuga Bhakti. Das Goswami says, "Then, by his grace, I have achieved the association of Srila Sanatana Goswami, who adjusts our position in relation to Raganuga Bhakti. He explains the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and gives us Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge of what is what, a proper acquaintance with the environment. Then he says, Gurudev has given me Mathura Mandal, where Radha and Govinda have their pastimes, with the forest, the hills, every creeper, shrub and grain of sand, everyone is bearing acquaintance of Radha Krishna Leela. And wherever I shall cast my glance, they will help me in my remembrance of Radha and Govinda. I have received all these things from my Gurudev, Vrindavan, where the cows and the milkmen have their village constructed. I am becoming acquainted with their association, their nature, and their feelings of love for Krishna. By the grace of Gurudev, I have become acquainted with Radha Kund, the favourite place of Radha and Govinda for their pastimes, and this great Govardhan. And lastly, he has given me the hope that one day I can get the service of Sri Sri Radhika and Madhava. I have been given all these assurances by my Gurudev, so I bow my head with all respects at his lotus feet. So, if we are conscious of all these spiritual matters, then we can think that we have approached our Gurudev properly. What is our Guru? What is his mission? It is filled with all these things. Devoid of that, what is our interest? What is ISKCON? Devotee. There are so many visions about the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. But what should the real vision of ISKCON be? Srila Sridhar Maharaj. In this verse, Raghunath Das Goswami gives the real acquaintance of what is ISKCON. Nama Shreshtam Manum Api Sachiputram Atra Swarupam. ISKCON must not deviate from this line. We have not come here to deceive ourselves, but to fulfill ourselves. ISKCON will fulfill everyone's inner demand, even extending to the vegetables and stones, taking them to the feet of Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis. From village to village, everyone and every place should be hunted and approached. Take the name of Krishna, come under the flag of Mahaprabhu. This grand worldwide mission will thrive like anything. It will touch the heavens and cover the earth and other planets also. That was the aim of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we understand and appreciate that. That is the end of chapter 4.
Short chapter. Short chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already 8 o'clock. Wow, time really flies, huh?
We're
having fun.
It wasn't actually that short of a chapter, I don't think.
Yeah, it just went by very quickly.
Yeah. Nityananda Prabhu, the quintessential avadut, ultimate avadut. What is the verse that Gurudev quotes? There's a book in the Mat called Sri Nityananda Mahimamritam. No, is it? That one, is it?
That's the Bengali edition, yeah.
Yeah.
We have an English edition.
The Glories of...
Yeah, something like that. Nectarian Glories, maybe, of Nityananda. Well, that's a literal translation. Nectarian Glories of Nityananda. I think we have a copy here.
And in there, Gurudev gives quotes a verse, I think it's from a Vaishnav Tantra.
Yeah.
To describe an avadut.
Yeah.
That he dresses like a Shivite, has the mood of a Shakta, but also displays a strong affinity for Vaishnav, for gatherings and ideology. And, like associating with the Vaishnavas and cultivating bhakti.
Yeah.
And
that's the way of classifying Avadut, or specifically Nityananda?
that's Avadut in general. But the verse is quoted as also applicable to Nityananda Prabhu. But it just describes that the Avadut doesn't really follow conventions and doesn't need to follow conventions. They're situated on a transcendental platform. And the peculiarity or the idiosyncrasy is that they can involve themselves in any kind of style of dress or even conduct, and it does not taint their purity in any way at all. And the implication of that is that it is not to be judged, or no judgment on their character or purity is to be made based on their external dress or code of conduct. Of course, that's a very high level, and so for someone that's not on a transcendental platform, the idea of perhaps calling themselves an avadut is attractive to the devious mind. When Prabhupada was in India, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, with his young disciples, and they were enthusiastically preaching to the Indians, and so they were preaching to this one man, and he's like, yes, I know Krishna, yes, Bhakti, my whole life. And then he pulls out a packet of cigs and starts smoking. And they're like, but hey, hang on, you're hooked on. And not that smoking is a huge, huge impediment, but nonetheless, it's not really considered acceptable behavior or recommended behavior. And they said, well, hang on, you're smoking a cigarette. And he said, Avadut, I'm an avadut. And they went back to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, what's an avadut? And he said, we met an avadut up the road. He was smoking a cigarette. And he said he knew all about Krishna. And Prabhupada said, he is not an avadut, don't worry. So many may try to imitate Nityananda Prabhu, but it's not such an easy, cheap thing, platform of avadut. It's easy to imitate this. The dress is easy to imitate, or the outer trappings of Krishna consciousness can be imitated, but it's no guarantee of, it's no reflection necessarily of the inner substance.
Yeah.
There's another instance of Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Siddhanta Saraswati's guru, living the life of a very austere bhajananandi, chanting a massive quantity of Harinam every day, living in or close to a latrine where people would go for their ablutions. So people wouldn't bother him. People would go to that area, the plot of land or the outhouse, whatever, do their business and then leave. They wouldn't linger around. And for him that was great, because he didn't want to be disturbed by people and their mundane, their worldly consciousness. But also due to that, people recognized him as so elevated spiritually on the topmost platform of spiritual realization, that they're naturally attracted to him to come and do service of various types, etc. So there's a certain popularity there. And so one fellow thought, I can do this too. So he set himself up just down the road in a similar place, started chanting, doing his chanting, and showing symptoms of spiritual ecstasy. And the word got to Srila Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji that, there's another Babaji down the road and he's showing symptoms of ecstasy and great renunciation. And Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji said, a woman can go into the maternity room and make all the sounds of going through a process of labor, of having a child, and etc. They can exhibit all the symptoms of childbirth. But if they're not actually pregnant, they're not going to have a child. So unless there's, at the point being, of course, unless a person is actually has some spiritual realization, then any kind of external show is, even you may have all the external paraphernalia, and it's all nil if there's no substance to back it up. All right. We finish there? Back, same place, same time tomorrow.
Yes.
Jai Shula Bhakti Rakha Shri Dhadev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Shula Gurudev ki Jai.
Hare Hare Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Ram
Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Bhakti Raksha Shira Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai Jai Shri Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Saprasham Shri Namaprabhu ki Jai Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai Shri Ganga Jamuna ki Jai Shri Devi Vinda Devi Tulasi Devi ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Shama Kundadakun Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Radha Giri Hariju ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati ki Jai Shri Api Tadi Shakman ki Jai all the assembled devotees ki Jai the world devotees ki Jai Jai Shri Gadadhar Prabhu ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol